Hey guys, welcome back to 31 Days of Halloween. Today is day 19, and I watched the Sorority Row remake, which was a remake of House on Sorority Row. I've never seen the original, so I can't really give any comparisons to the remake. This came out actually quite a while ago, about 10 years ago, and I just never watched it because it was kind of one of those movies that came out, and it was like remake after remake after remake, and they were all like worse than the previous one. Prom Night was awful. The Black Christmas remake was awful, which they're actually making another one, pretty much a name only. But so I'm not really a fan of remakes, especially like Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. I didn't like. There are very few remakes that I actually like, and this is one I didn't see, even though I hadn't seen the original. So I just didn't like the idea at the time and didn't want to support it. Anyway, this movie stars Brianna Evigan. She was like really kind of popping at the time. She did a couple other horror movies. She was in the TV show Fear Itself, if you can remember that show, with all the Masters of Horror directing each episode. Bruce Willis's daughter is in this movie too, Rumer Willis, and it's directed by a guy. This is pretty much the only thing he's done. After this, all he did was a couple like Halo TV show things, and then he did another TV thing that he did, and that's it. I guess these movies really aren't that hard to direct because they're pretty straightforward, and that's what this is. This is basically the story is there are these sorority sisters who are playing a prank on one of their sorority sister's brother, and they pretend that their friend is dead and that he killed her, and they end up trying to be like, okay, we're gonna get rid of the body and protect it from you, and he's freaking out, and some of the girls are like, I don't like this, and so they go out into the middle of nowhere, and they're kind of like, all right, let's go look for some sharp rocks to cut her up with. And so they all start going their own way, and the other guy is just kind of standing around. He's kind of freaking out. And so he grabs a tire iron out of the back of the vehicle that they drove there, and he just stabs it in her. And they're all like, what? And then he's like, she's still alive, because blood's coming out and everything, and she's kind of like, ugh. And so then they all are like, what do we do now? She's actually dead. And there's kind of this lead, like the main sister was a real bitch throughout the whole fucking movie. And she's always out for herself, but she's like, oh, sisters, it's all about being together, and I love all of you. It's all bullshit. But so she convinces part of the group that they're going to get rid of the body because they don't want to ruin their own lives. And one of the girls is really against it. Two of them actually are, but one of them is really quiet and really reserved, and so she's not going to do anything. And what they do is they go and they dump the body. They don't tell her, and then she comes back and she's like, you dumped the body? And they're like, yeah, it's so sad that you did that. We know it was an accident that you did it, but we're all sisters. And she's like, what? And so that's how they kind of set it up. And then the actual movie takes place a year later, and they get a text of that they think is from her, and so they kind of start freaking out, and then somebody comes back and starts picking them off one by one. And so it's a little bit of a mystery. It's kind of like I said this before when I reviewed Hellfest, in that it's like an old school 90s slasher. It's weird to say the 90s are old school, but I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's a lot like I Know What You Did Last Summer, only with a little bit of a mystery thrown in. And I actually like this, which is weird to say, because I kind of went in expecting it to be annoying, and maybe it's the passage of time that has let me look back on these older, these kind of 2000s, horror films where it seemed like they were just pumping them out for money, and be able to be like, it's not so bad. And I think it helps that I haven't seen the original. I don't know whether the original is any good or not, but I think it does help that I haven't seen it because I don't have something to compare it to. I think I will go back and watch the original, but yeah, I actually had a lot of fun with this. The kills are actually pretty good and gory. There's a lot of TNA in the movie, a lot of it. It reminds me of when horror movies used to have boobs in them all the time. That used to be like a bonus. You'd be like, yep, there were tits in that movie, and there was a lot of gore. It was a good movie. And it seems like I almost forgot that was a thing, because you don't really see it anymore. And I guess this is one of those weird 2000s thing, like if you remember the Friday the 13th remake, where they had that guy that was having sex with that chick, and he said something like, "Your boobs are immaculate." It was a really stupid line, but it kind of made the movie. Yeah, it's a weird kind of bygone era. You don't see movies like that anymore. It's strange. I never thought about it. But yeah, the gore is really good. The kills are pretty inventive, actually, which is kind of a weird thing to say. You know, there are weird things that happen, especially when you get kind of to the twist. I was disappointed in the twist, I will say that. Like, I was like, that's it? I was kind of hoping for something, I don't know, I don't want to spoil it, but I was hoping for something a little bit different than what ended up happening. It just didn't seem, I don't know, it was weird. It was a really strange twist. It's one of those things where, you're kind of expecting it to go one way, and you kind of want it to go that way, and then, like, a character who you thought was one way is totally not that way. It's like a complete flip, which, you know, sometimes they drop hints about who it could be, but this was totally out of left field. Like, you would have never pictured this person doing it. So that was a little bit like you would never guess who it is, and that's what's a little bit annoying about it. I also forgot that this has but Carrie Fisher is in the movie. She's like the house mother, and she's great. She has a really good few scenes in the movie. And this is the other thing about this movie that's a little bit strange, is it has a lot of like weird comedy in it. There's a couple lines that are funny, and it works really well, actually. It doesn't take itself too seriously, I guess. Like, some of the kills are kind of, you know, crazy, over the top, and so with the comedy, it fits pretty well, I think. So as far as a rating would go, this is gonna be another one where I bounce back and forth. Usually I'd say a 3. It's fun, and, you know, it's worth watching once. But I actually kind of like this one. So because the kills were so inventive, it's kind of a throwback movie a little bit. I almost had to go 3.5. I know I hate saying that because it's a remake, and it's Sorority Row, and it's a bunch of dumb chicks running around. But, like, the kills were so cool, and, I don't know, it was just fun, you know? And most of the time, that's the most important thing. You know, a movie could be absolute shit. Like, look at Troll 2. That movie is so fun. It's an absolute shit show, but it's so fun to watch. And that's kind of how I feel with this movie, you know? There's characters that don't make any sense, and they do dumb things and all that kind of stuff, but it's still a lot of fun. So I have to stick with 3.5 because I actually enjoyed this one quite a bit. So that's Sorority Row. I don't know what I'm watching for tomorrow's review. I don't even really have any ideas. I do plan on watching Candy Corn at some point. It's a movie I want to see. And like I said, I got Haunt that's going to be coming up. It's going to be on Shudder, I think, on the 24th. So I'm going to watch that as soon as that's available. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. So, thank you for watching. Like the video if you've got this far. Subscribe if you want to see my next, bunch of reviews that I got coming out. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow.